It's match day, boys and girls, and today it's all about the points. I don't care about the performance today. Don't care about it at all. You can pull me up on that in the review later on if I can. I might allude to the fact if we haven't played that well, but I'll tell you what, if we've won, I will hopefully be saying it's all about the points. It really is. We've been given a scare this weekend and we've been given opportunity. The opportunity was given to us by Manchester United, drawing against Bournemouth. I thought they were lucky. Man U, very impressed with Bournemouth. Their manager, Iriola, is that his name, Iriola? Something like that. Anyway, very, very impressed with him, actually. And the scare was given to us by Newcastle, who, whilst they didn't quite cement sixth place, what I mean by that is they can drop out as sixth place. They got momentum. They're going in the right direction, aren't they? Really, they're pretty impressive. They showed their form against us. I think certainly the way Anthony Gordon, way Harvey Barnes came off the bench against us, and way Isak scored obviously a couple of pens against us. They all played well against Tottenham. They absolutely mullered Tottenham. They really did. They killed them, and I was very, very impressed with what I saw from Newcastle. I'm particularly given that they have got a pretty horrendous injury record at the moment. They're still finding ways to win, and they've just got momentum with them. If you look at the Premier League table, and if you go and look at it sort of on Google or whatever, it'll have the last 5 games of the form table, and obviously it's a red sort of cross for a loss. I think there's just like I think it's like a grey, basically there's a grey icon for the draw, and there's a green tick for the win. Man U and West Ham's form is exactly the same at the moment, and just Newcastle's going in the right direction. So realistically, we need to win, and it's all about the points. Forget about 8th. For me, forget about 8th at the moment. God's grace, fair wind, all the planets have got to align. The European coefficient's got to go well. The correct team's got to win the FA Cup, so on and so forth. It's at the moment I'm just factoring in 7th. I think we're in a race for 7th. The Brighton result went for us, a 1-1. Was it Burnley-Brighton? That went our way too. We've got to be a little bit careful with Chelsea because they've got 2 games in hand. And whilst I don't think they've had a great season, they've got some great players there and they can win those 2. They can win a couple of games. But, can they string 4 wins together? I don't know. I'm not so sure. The previous results in the Premier League this season would suggest not. But it's why Fulham and why Crystal Palace are so important for West Ham today. Crystal Palace obviously next week. We've just got to get the job done. There's a couple of things going against us for this game. Obviously, I'm thinking number one of fatigue levels. It's not just the amount of miles and the amount of effort everyone's had to put in and run over the last few games. Lack of substitutions made by David Moyes in all the games. I don't know what I'm thinking back to Tottenham, but it probably goes further back than that. Plus, you've got the journey, the travel back and forth to Germany won't have been easy as well. And then you've got to factor in that this mob, I'm talking about Fulham here, beat us 5-0 last time. They gave us a lesson in football. There's no doubt about that at all. Factor those 2 things in. It is just all about the points here for this one. And we need 3. We absolutely need 3. If we're going to get that 7th place, and that's what we got to do. I mean, as I said, Man United were lucky. I really, really did think that. I thought Man United were lucky, and it has given us opportunity. Now, I don't know how true this is. I did actually watch. I watched the game, but I'm not one for sitting around listening to press conferences and stuff like that. And this is a West Ham one. Apparently, Ten Hag stormed out the press conference. I don't know how that works out for West Ham. It looks, when managers start doing that, you think they're probably coming to the end. I hope that they keep hold of him. I've never rated him as a manager. If you've been watching the channel, you know that for a long time. I think he obviously did well at Ajax, but I don't think you can gauge it. I don't think you can tell. I think you can only really tell when these managers go and operate in the top leagues. And and I think he's just been found wanting. I don't see any difference between him and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer or anyone else for that matter. I think they're all much of a muchness. What I hope is he stays in his position. I think I said the same thing with Solskjaer. I want him to stay there. Because I do think if somebody else comes in, even a caretaker manager, then I think almost anybody else can get a bit of an uplift and do better than him. So, I think 7th. I'm not saying 7th is there for the taking, but we've really got to get our teeth into these games. We've got to find a win somehow. I mean, I've spent a lot of time bleating about David Moyes. I find it frustrating. I do find it frustrating that we're in this situation whereby the squad are knackered and he's decided to go That's his decision. He decided to go that way, and it looks like the wrong call. The wrong call. And that's why I hate all this 1,000-game experience, the rest of it. I think just don't talk about it. What's the point in having experience if you're not going to draw upon it? Anyway, I was having a little think earlier, and it was, yesterday, it was to do with Maxwell Cornet and Danny Ings, one of whom I think really has to feature in this game. And one of them cost 15 million, the other one cost 17 million. And I started looking at the wages as well, and Danny Ings is on £4 to £5 million a year. No one will ever know exactly what he's on, but the accounts seem to suggest, and it was rebuffed by the club that he wasn't 115 grand a week, but it is 80 to 90 grand a week, and the accounts would certainly suggest that as well. My point is he's on about £4.5 million a year. When you look at it and you look at the wages that both Cornet and their transfer fees, you're looking at in excess of £40 million. £40 million. It's a hell of a waste. That is a lot of money. I mean, it wasn't that long ago, and I must admit, I don't know what the turnover was. I think it's a little bit more in Europe. But it wasn't that long ago that our turnover was sort of like 196 million. You're looking at a lot. You're looking at about 20% of our turnover, in investment and annual turnover, tied up in two players that the manager just won't use or doesn't use. So I do expect him to do something. I don't know if you noticed, George Murphy, who's been in and around the squad, scored a really good goal against Norwich. The under-21s went back to the top of Premier League 2. Him and Orford have both scored world-class goals recently. They've been in and around the first-team squad, and the way I'm looking at it, I don't mean, maybe not start them, but give them an opportunity off the bench. He cannot continue to flog these players in the way that he does. When I say flog, I don't mean sell. I mean like flogging a dead horse. I mean, for Antonio to be playing all these minutes like he is doing, it can't be right. I'd be amazed if Antonio starts in this game. I really would. I think we need him. But you can only go to the well so many times. You really can. And I think he's asking so much of Antonio here to keep doing this. What's he going to do? I think Gio might have had it right, actually, when he said in the preview that maybe Danny Ings in that number 10 role. Maybe, just maybe, that's it. I am clinging to the slim hope that actually maybe Fulham haven't got anything to play for. So I'm not saying that they're not going to try, but even, the fact they can't get relegated, can't qualify for Europe, maybe, just maybe, even if that just takes 5% away from their intensity, it might help. But yeah, listening to Marco Silva talk, he's having none of that. He's certainly going to be giving them instruction, and they're going to be going for it. And he'll feel he's got David Moyes' number. And David Moyes never feels, even when Graham Potter was doing him every time we played. I mean, I don't think he ever felt, he's a confident man, Moyes, so I don't think he'll feel that Silva's got his number. But he needs to be wary about it. He needs to come up with some sort of tactical plan. It's going to be hard. Honestly, the players are dropping like flies at the moment. Look, Edson Alvarez back. That's going to be a really, really big boost for us. That's going to help us. As I said at the start of the video, let's just get the win today.